Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I have for you today another art video. As you may know, if you follow me on Instagram, and please go check out my Instagram account at Irish Farm Art, all the links are below in the description. I have been on a long holiday / work trip down to Portugal. From the north part of Portugal, landed in Porto, spent a few days there, and then I went down to the Douro Valley. The Douro Valley is the valley that is made by the Douro River that crosses Porto. I put them up here for you. And then all the way down to Lisbon, and I spent the last few days in Lisbon, wandering around the city and as well the surrounding. For this trip I had the idea of experimenting a little bit with being an urban sketcher, and I brought with me my trusty sketchbook, which is this one. This is my A5 Hahnemühle sketchbook, and as well I bought with me this thing here. This is a folder in which I store a few loose sheet of paper. This is Fabriano paper, and I have some Canson paper as well. So, armed with a sketchbook and paper and my trusty watercolor palette, I really wanted to get into urban sketching. And yeah, I managed to paint quite a bit. I really liked the result and I want to share them with you today. So let me move the camera, and if I manage, I will be able to show you the paintings. So let's start with the paintings that I made out of loose paper, and I have quite a few. I am not going to show you the paintings chronologically just because it will be too difficult, but let's start with the first one. This is a view right at the corner of the apartment I was staying. It's the neighborhood of Alfama in Lisbon. I found it extraordinarily picturesque, and there wasn't any corner that I couldn't stop but paint. And this is the famous cable car in Lisbon. I use watercolor, a little bit of a white gel pen that I bought in Lisbon for the occasion, and of course my food nib pen. You can tell from this little line variation that is going on the painting itself. I found myself enjoying practicing with leaving negative space all around and as well splattering color. This is another view from the same Alfama neighborhood, and this is actually the view from the kitchen window of the Airbnb I was staying. You can tell a lot of oranges, a lot of browns, and the same idea of playing with the negative space that I really enjoy. We have here another view from the Alfama neighborhood in Lisbon. This is a restaurant or a coffee shop. I found this tricky because I was painting on the spot. The footpath was very small, and especially was a very intricate painting. So playing with negative space here was quite difficult. I am not 100% happy with this painting, but I think from a distance it looks okay. Something that I'm not really happy about is the inside of the door and the dark spaces. I haven't grasped quite yet how to paint dark inside the spaces, the inside of the window, for example, the inside of the door, and so on. And then we get finally to our last painting from the loose papers painting. And this is a tower on the sea in Lisbon. It's a very, very famous landmark. It was a cold day. You can tell from the tone of the color as well. It was actually freezing, considering that it was kind of the end of summer. The wind was very, very strong, and the sea was quite rough as well. But this is probably one of my favorite paintings, especially because I use this rough texture paper that makes the color react so much better together. This is definitely my favorite paper so far. I think, if I'm correct, this is a loose leaf of Arches paper. I shared a video a few weeks ago on Arches paper and how I get a giant, massive sheet and I cut them to size. So yeah, you can tell how the Fudanib pen worked, or struggled more than work, on this very rough paper. But all in all, this is absolutely stunning, I think. And yeah. Let's get into the sketchbook now. So, as I mentioned, this is a Hahnemühle sketchbook that I have been using for the past few months. I do love Hahnemühle paper and their sketchbooks. I find that the paper is lovely. It's, if I'm correct, 175 grams watercolor paper. The thing that I'm not happy about is that since I found out about Arches paper, and especially this rough texture, sketchbooks are coming a little bit short. I do enjoy much more the final work on the paper rather than on the sketchbook. But I want to finish this. I think is still a valuable tool. So the first painting that I have here comes from Porto. Now, don't ask me about the neighborhood name or anything like that. I unfortunately don't remember. This is just a nice little corner that I found. It's packed full of this corner with a house at the corner and little walls or staircases going up on the sides. I like this because of its simplicity. The thing that I don't like is the use of the green. I think it just clashes. I probably should have left it white. Going on with my paintings, for some reason I got obsessed with tiles. If you're familiar with Portugal, it's full of these gorgeous tiles everywhere, in every houses. So on the next few pages you will see that I tried to frame my drawing with these gorgeous tiles, and it was quite interesting to sit there and sketch the tiles because yeah, people were like asking what I was doing, so it was quite funny. This is a view of the Douro River Valley. I took a boat trip on the river and it was just full of these gorgeous hills with tiny little houses here and there, and the landmark or the landscape was beautifully cut by the vineyards that are growing in terraces there. They make this like staircases type of thing. Of this painting, although it's made on a boat, rocky water and so on and so forth, I do enjoy this part here and the little road where I think successfully used negative space. I think, yeah, I have another view of the Douro river with tiles. Now, I made this two framing of tiles way in advance, leaving this space white, and when I was on the river I just sketched the hills and the vineyards and a little tiny boat over here. We go back to the city, and this is another view of Lisbon, the Alfama neighborhood. I was just staying around the corner here. There's another of these gorgeous corner houses. And I think here I was more successful in getting the inside of the building done well, like the black part of the windows. On the other page, we have another view of the Alfama neighborhood. Now, I really enjoy this painting, although two things I would like to do differently. One is being less strong with my shadows, and the second one is to play better with the negative space. If I go back to this page, I probably would paint of a very light pink or yellow this building under here, leaving negative space only the two sides. And finally, we have another kind of border with tiles and a lovely little Vespa. How do you call this in English? Is a moped? Something like that. This was a neighborhood in Lisbon called LX Factory, which is basically an old factory that was converted into art studios, food, and independent shops, and so on and so forth. I spent a lot of time there as well, walking around the shops, and there was this lovely red moped, Vespa, there that was contrasting so well with the flowers and as well the little fire extinguisher there. So that was it for my little tour of being an urban sketcher. I really hope you did enjoy my sketches, and if you did, please consider to subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any recommendation on how to be more urban-y with my sketches, I would really appreciate any suggestions, and please put a comment down below in the description. On my next video, I will show you what I bought in Lisbon, because there were so many beautiful art shops and I couldn't stop myself but buying all the things. So I will see you very soon. Bye bye.